So, Andy, Minnesota has gotten to be quite a destination place for bass fishing. Leech Lake has really taken off. The smallmouth are going there. We talked about the smallmouth fishery in Mille Lacs. But one of the things is the bass here are smaller than they are in a number of other areas. And everybody always wants to catch a big fish. Is there any way we can ever get bass that big here in Minnesota?
Well, climate change might help. Right?
Okay, something less drastic.
Yeah. So I grew up fishing bass. I mean, when I was in high school, I spent hours and hours. And the biggest bass I ever caught, thousands of hours fishing in Wisconsin, was a 21-inch bass. I had a student of mine go down south this past, for spring break, and they spent 4 hours fishing and caught a 24-incher.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, how'd you do that? No, they went down into a part of their distribution that produces really, really large bass because they can grow faster. They're in their optimal growth range. For temperatures, there's also some bait down there. They have shad and things that the bass can cue in on and really, really take off. So, but I mentioned the warming temperatures. Things are going to be really interesting over the next couple of decades with our, if we're raised 3 degrees, that's going to move. We're currently right at the northern edge of the distributional range for largemouth bass. So 3 degrees, we switch to be more like Illinois, right? Oh. You'd expect our bass fishing to get better just based upon water temperatures.
Okay. So I mean, let's take global warming out of the picture. Minnesota stays where Minnesota always stayed. In order for a bass to get as big as one down south, he's got to live a long, long time, much longer than he would have to down south to get to the same size. Or can he even get that big regardless?
Yeah, I don't think they would.
Okay.
Once you start to mature, once you mature sexually, their growth curve really curls over. So they're putting all their energy into eggs and sperm at that time, and less on growth. Whereas down south they can grow really, really quick, get really, really big, really, really fat, and then become reproductively active. So
now I've heard there's a trade-off. I've heard the trade-off is you get bigger fish down there, but you get a lot more action up here. Maybe that's just Minnesota tourism talking. I'm not sure.
I entirely agree with that. So I spent 3 years or 2.5 years in Arkansas, and sure, there's some big fish down there, but I couldn't catch them worth a darn. Maybe you just had to be really, really good, and I wasn't. I was used to just throwing a hula popper out there, twitching it twice right at dusk, and catching 30 of them.
Yeah.
So I would. Just from my past experiences in fishing in the south and then fishing up here for largemouth bass, I would agree. I've caught more bass in one night in Wisconsin and in Minnesota than I have in Arkansas in my whole time I was there.
Okay. So there you have it. From a guy who's done both. You want action? Minnesota, Wisconsin. That's the place to be.